Hey guys, Apocalypso here, back with another video. And today I am talking about the Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition roadmap that was released. I don't think it was released today, but it was released the other day. Uh, and there are a few things here that have caught my attention. I just finished watching Spirit of the Laws video about it, and I was reading the comments, and they were really making me think, which is why I decided to record this video now, even though it's like 12:30 in 12:30 at night, but whatever. Uh, so I'm just gonna go over each thing, uh, and things that I think are actually notable. I will talk about. So rematch shortcuts. That's for this summer. That's pretty straightforward. They're going to make it easy to rematch somebody uh, that you play against online. I don't understand. Most online games have that feature. Age of Empires 2 might not have that feature for some reason, but if it doesn't have that feature, it's definitely going to be added sometime in the summer. And then in-game ranked map pool voting. Basically, previously you had to go on a forum to vote for which maps you wanted to appear in the map pool. Um, but that will no longer be required because you can actually vote for that stuff in game, which is really cool because a lot of people didn't participate in the voting because they didn't have forum accounts or they just didn't know that there was a thing. So that's pretty important. So balance changes, that's pretty standard. Age of Empires has always had balance changes. So that's for the summer. So for the fall, now this is where it gets interesting. Popular mods as in-game settings. Well, they already have some of that, but Spirit of the Law point out stuff like small trees, potentially becoming an in-game setting instead of a mod. And let's see, I don't know what other kinds of mods would become in-game settings, but it's actually really good that they do that because the mods get disabled after every patch. So that's kind of annoying. But yeah, that's that's one thing. Now, this is where it gets interesting. No, I already said that before, but this is where it actually gets interesting. Something different and unknown. Now, that could be anything, but it's been suggested in the comments of Spirit of the Laws video that the something different and unknown is a new expansion themed around Oceania or Polynesia specifically. Now, if that's true, that's actually really cool because I want oceanic civilizations. Now, I just had like two, uh, three technically, but I really only wanted two. Um, the Polynesians and the Micronesians, they were sort of umbrella cips, but they don't really do umbrella cips anymore. They kind of have them be more specific, so they might end up having like individual civilizations, like for like Polynesia, for like the Tongans and the Hawaiians. And problem is, I don't know what they would have for their wonders. So that would be kind of a complicated thing. That's why I had like all the Polynesians like uh I had all the Polynesians in one umbrella because I didn't think each individual Polynesian culture was actually significant enough to warrant its own civilization. Um, they're kind of like a more of a loose cluster of different islands rather than specific civilizations like on their own. So I figured it made more sense to have them all together. So like for the Polynesians, I had a lot of Hawaiian influence and then Tongan influence and Easter Island influence. Actually, the wonder I had for the Polynesians would be an Easter Island statue, a Moai statue, um, and that's what I picture if the Polynesians get in as a civilization in Age of Empires, like as an umbrella civ like that, I kind of expect that to be their wonder because the Moai statues are very impressive for a relatively primitive people, and they're also very mysterious. So I think they'd be very fitting as a wonder. But yes, something different and unknown. Now, I've had a thought that there could be a Caucasus expansion coming eventually with the Georgians and Armenians, but this probably isn't that because if this is referring if this is referring to a an expansion with a unique theme that hasn't been seen in the game before, the Caucasus has sort of been covered in Age of Empires, in Age of Empires 2 specifically, because you've had civilizations in that region, and you've had like the Cumans, who they've interacted with the Georgians quite a lot, and then you actually had placeholder civilizations for the Armenians and Georgians in one of the campaigns. So I have a feeling they'll add them at some point down the road, but this wouldn't be the something different and unknown. Polynesia and Oceania in general would definitely be something different and unknown because it hasn't been featured in the game before in any capacity. So I think that if this is referring to an expansion, that's probably what it's referring to. And I thought I was one of the few people that actually wanted like an oceanic themed expansion, but if this is being lobbied, if this is being bandied about as an actual suggestion, like a serious suggestion from people about what it means, may actually be more popular of an idea than I thought. Now, it is possible that this something different and unknown is simply referring to a new game mode that nobody knows about and is completely different from anything ever put in the game before. But I like to think that's more of a sign for an expansion. That's just my personal bias. So anyway, enough about that. So it's someone's birthday, isn't it? Now, this could mean two things. Uh, the 23rd birthday for Age of Empires 2. Yeah, yeah. So the 23rd birthday for Age of Empires 2 is coming in September 30th, 3 days after my birthday, incidentally. Um, and and then the Age of Mythology birthday is a month later. So it's been suggested that this is referring to something related to either of those, but considering this is Age of Empires 2, it's probably referring to uh, that game and not Age of Mythology. Now, more balance changes, that's pretty pretty typical. Uh, Pretty typical, like, yeah, like I said, balance changes are very typical for games with consistent support. Now, monthly updates for 2023. It's hard to say what that could mean. Um, Now is that they how are monthly updates different from balance changes? I don't really know. I couldn't really say about how monthly updates are different from balance changes. Maybe they would add different features each month instead of just working purely on balance. I don't know. That's that's a good question. I honestly don't know what the monthly updates could be referring to. So let me know about your thoughts in the comments. Now, we're inviting some ancient friends to hang out. Now, that is a very strange thing to say considering this game is uh, set in the Middle Ages. So what do ancient friends mean? Uh, Again, I don't know. Could this be the Age of Mythology thing that people are wanting? People are wanting an Age of Mythology Definitive Edition, maybe even Age of Mythology 2. So, could this be that? I don't know. But here's another thought. Maybe the original Age of Empires, as in Age of Empires 1, is getting extra civilizations. But based on the wording, I don't think that's likely. And if they wanted to add more civilizations, they probably would have done that by now because Age of Empires 1 Definitive Edition has been out for several years now. A few years actually, like I think since 2018. So if they wanted to add more civilizations, they wouldn't wait like 5 year, 4 years, 2019, 2020, 2021, 22. Yes, about 5 years. They would not wait 5 years to add new content to a game if they're going to do that. I don't think so. Um, so that's, I mean, Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition only waited like 2 years to start adding new content. So yes, it only waited about 2 years to begin adding new civilizations, and before that they had all those balance changes. So I don't think Age of Empires 1 Definitive Edition is going to get any new civilizations. Um, so that's I don't know what the ancient friends could be referring to. Again, if you might have some idea, just tell me in the comments about your personal theories because I don't know. But this next one was interesting. So you liked Dynasties of India. We're taking notes. Um, Now that's kind of interesting because Dynasties of India was all about splitting up one civilization that was very umbrella. Um, which is another reason I think they probably, if they do get the Polynesian expansion, they probably won't go for an umbrella civilization like I have. I actually kind of like umbrella civilizations. I feel like it makes the game more organized and less gimmicky, but most people don't like umbrella civilizations. So, anyway, so like Dynasties of India, we're taking notes. So, it is possible that they could split up a, you know, certain civilizations that are umbrellas, like the Chinese. Um, they could easily get the Jer- Jerkins and some other civilizations. I'm not sure, like I don't know, Manchus. I don't know. I only really know the Jerkins. They probably wouldn't add the Tibetans because they weren't part of China at that time. And there's also kind of political stuff behind the scenes that would make that concept extremely nebulous and pretty risky to pull off. So I don't think they probably wouldn't have the Tibetans. I think they probably wouldn't have the Tibetans in a Chinese themed expansion, unfortunately, because I actually really want the Tibetans as a civilization. It'd be really cool. But it is what it is. So, what other civilizations could potentially be split up? Um, I'm thinking maybe like newer civilizations. I don't know. It's what they could also do. They could also split up the Spanish. Um, but that's a little um I don't know. It's a little strange. I mean, yeah, I've thought about splitting up the Spanish myself, but the Spanish aren't like India. Spain isn't like India where it has a vastly different cultures all throughout the country. I might be wrong about that, but Spain does have some cultural variance, but I don't think it's not nearly to the same extent as India. So I don't think splitting it up would make as much sense as splitting up India. So I don't know what what they could mean by that about taking notes from dynasties of India, but we'll just have to wait until next year to see. And frankly, I can hardly wait because I am very excited to see what they do with this game, especially if they are adding more civilizations like the Polynesian civilizations and Micronesian civilizations potentially. So I think that would be a really exciting thing to see, and I guess we'll just find out. We'll have to find out in the fall what they mean about that something different and unknown, if it's actually referring to an expansion or what is what it, what it's actually referring to, if not that. Now, something to think about: the expansions that we've gotten have only come out like around 6 months apart, maybe 6 to 9 months apart. Um, and yes, I believe Dynasties of India came out in April, so uh, having a new expansion in the fall would definitely match up with that like 6 month gap roughly. So I think if we do get a new expansion this year, if well, I should say if the something different unknown is indeed an expansion, that would definitely line up with the pattern we have for the new expansions, the expansions that we had in the past, I should say. Um, yes, so that's probably what I think it is. I think the something different and unknown is probably an Oceania or specifically Polynesian expansion, but it is hard to say. It's 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 difficult to know, and it is important to hype responsibly, as they say in the Nintendo fan base, because people can easily get their hopes up for something and then it just doesn't come to fruition the way they want, and then they end up not liking the thing that comes out, even though it's perfectly legitimate, even though it's a good thing. It is actually well made and well designed, and it's a good product. But just because it did not meet people's expectations, they hate on it. So regardless of what comes in the fall and next year, we need to remember to hype responsibly. I will try to be doing that myself. Um, because I know that I get my expectations up quite a bit. My expectations are very easy to get high. So I will definitely be trying my best to hype responsibly, and I think you all should do that too. So I think on that note, I will end this video because I don't really have much else to say. So I guess just let me know in the comments what you think all these things are and what they mean, and your personal theories on what the something different unknown and taking notes on dynasties of India are. And I will see you in the next video, whatever that is. And I am hoping to be streaming tomorrow. I don't know. I probably will be. It depends. But yes. See you in the next video, and peace.